Hello and welcome back to Nat Scraps. Thank you for once again joining me for my creative process. Today we are again working with Willow and Grace. It is stunning. What do I like about it? Everything, absolutely everything. I love the fact that it's got that hint of pet to it, but I love that you could use it for so many other things as well. I'm just going through my photos. Well, I did have two dogs. Unfortunately, when we got Loki, now I think I've talked about Loki. If you've been around the channel before, he's a bit of a mischievous dog. He likes to eat remotes. He gets up to mischief. When we first got Loki, these are photos of him in the very first few days when actually I think this is the first day he came home, and we had another boxer called Ruby. Now, I love Loki. He's he can be a pain in my butt, but I do love him. Ruby, I adored Ruby. Ruby was just the quintessential, old-aged boxer who just loved life. And she was around our home. We got Ruby when my kids were very, very young, little babies, in fact, and she grew up with my two little kids. So there was a very short time, it was only a few months, Ruby got sick, very sick, not long after we got Loki, which was very unfortunate because she would have been perfect to teach him not to eat the remotes. And I've got these beautiful photos of the day that we brought Loki home and Ruby's meeting Loki, and they're getting to know each other a little bit. You can sort of see Ruby's face like going, what is this little creature you've brought into my household? She'd been an only dog for so many years, and then there was this other tiny little creature, but she did love on him and make him feel welcome. So they're the photos I'm working with. This is the paper range I'm working with, and I start off thinking I'm going to have these two little boxer pictures. So the creative cuts come with a beautiful selection of flowers and all the wonderful things that Uniquely Creative do. Also, they have a cat's creative cuts and a dog's creative cuts, and they do have a couple of boxes. They don't look exactly like my two boxes, but they look close enough, and I've thought about using those in there. I end up changing it around a bit. I then got that card that says life is better with, and I was talking over that little section, but what I did was I fussy cut that out, and in my mind I've got two dogs going to go there. So rather than having life is better with a dog, life is better with two dogs. So I fussy cut that out, and then I'm looking to back that onto something, and this is where I sort of go to having a diagonal kind of with my embellishments across the page and thinking in that kind of direction. There's my two. I did, that's why the keyboard came in from the outside there. I had that cut on the Cricut, and now I'm going to put my photos onto this corrugated cardstock. Now, I do believe this is from Uniquely Creative. I do not know if they still stock it. This was from several years ago. I think I got it as an add-on in a kit, and it's been sitting there, and this week was the week to pull it out and use what was there of it. It gives beautiful texture to a page. Now, I did make another page after this, and I used the leftover of that little bit of corrugated to create a tag, and just the texture is beautiful. It really adds. Now, I did go to cut it with this trimmer. It didn't work. I had to scoot over to one of my other trimmers that has the choppy downy blade, the guillotine blade, rather than the slide blade to get that cut. And I'm still trying to think of what I'm going to do with that life is better bit. In my mind, I sort of had it on a card or a bit. Here I'm looking at the little frame from the creative cuts, and I think that will work really well. So I kind of pop it to the side while I think of a couple other things I'm going to do, and I'm bringing in lots of the creative cut flowers. These are just gorgeous. They have a really soft, very close to boho, but I wouldn't call them boho, but very soft kind of feel to them, and with a little bit of a feathery kind of accent in a little bits and pieces of the places, if that makes any sense whatsoever, whatever language I was speaking there. But that's the thought I do get. They do also in those creative cuts have like these few little tags, the little flaggy bits like that. And that's what I'm doing at the moment, is popping through. And this is the way that I generally create, is I make a mess, as you can see all around me. I pull everything out and I sort of sort through, and I pull things out and I'll move them around. I'll place them down, I'll take them back off, and I'll move them around again. And I do that on majority of pages that I create with. So it does start off very much a mess and very fluid. And even as I'm creating and putting things down, I'll adjust things, add things on, take them off. That's my process. Some people can see it and just it goes down and they can get it down in one go. I'm very much put it down, move it around, pull it up, put it down kind of girl. On this zip strip, there's a little thing that says a furry family, I think that's what it says. And I cut that off and put it up the top. So I have it there to use and look at as I'm going along. There was a bit of paper with the similar background to what I cut away, that Life is Better with Two Dogs. And I'm popping that onto that paper, putting the two on there. Probably looking back right now, and even when I was editing the video, I didn't even think about it. I possibly could have just covered up with a dog with the two. But that's in hindsight, and I didn't even think about that until right this second. So anyway, that's what was going on there, and I'm going to blend around that, and then I'm going to use another piece of the cardstock from that collection just to give that a little bit of a pop and a second border. So I'm going to pop that on there. I will bring in a distressing tool and give that a bit of a rough up, and then blend around with the walnut ink, walnut stain I think I used on this layout. So you can see, you don't see much of it, because if anybody that does like using a bit of a distressing tool will know that it does end up with white fluffy bits all over your work. And then if you go and blend anywhere near your work, you end up with white fluffy bits that have blending all over them, that then leave little streaks all over your work. One of those hazards of blending and distressing. So I'm quite happy now with that little block, and I think it stands out enough but doesn't overtake the photos too much. I've got this little puppy love. Again, that is a piece from one of the zip strips, and I think it works well on the page. Now it's really trying to figure out how I can surround this with the flowers and bits and pieces like that. And as I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking I wish I had more flowery pieces. Now there is a cut apart page that you can get as an add-on, and it also comes on the back of the cover, the lighter cover piece that comes with all the papers. I don't know if that makes any sense. So you've got your collection of papers, and it has like a cover advertising piece with all the different papers on the bottom in strips. On the back of that, there is also this cut apart, but you'll see me bring it in a moment. I'll cut several flowers out of that, or did I already have. I'm behind the 8 ball today, sorry guys. And that has a few florals in it, so I've cut several of those out, and I'll use them to fill in a couple of the bits around the place. Here I'm just kind of still searching through those bits, and you'll sort of see when I'm pretty settled on what I have, because I kind of tend to make a less of a puddle on the side, and things start to get packed up as I have decided what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep on the page. Here I'm thinking I also do bring in some rub-ons. So the Willow and Grace collection has a collection of rub-ons that is an add-on to the collection, and I bring those in just to get a little bit of leafage in the background. So this is the cut apart sheet that I was talking about. Oh, I'm going to do that now. I thought I'd already gone past that, guys. What do I know? I only edited the video a couple of minutes ago. So I cut one piece out there, and here is the rub-ons. Now I'm going to bring them in. So I hadn't used rub-ons in ages. I haven't used any from the last few collections, so I was a bit like, I wonder how these will go. It's been quite a while since I've used rub-ons. They were so easy to use, and they did help just add that little bit of background. And because the flowers are all on different levels there, I think it helped, and I think it worked really well. These are a really soft kind of brown, nearly into autumny tones in this collection. They work really well. I do like the fact that it didn't bring in a whole heap of green, because sometimes when you have foliage that you want to put behind photos, it's quite a vibrant green, and it really kind of can distract unless there's other greens in the layout. So I do like the fact that these were more, you know, muted tones and in that autumny kind of feel. So I'm going to pop those on, and you can see they really worked quite well. I didn't have to go back and redo section after section. I can remember years ago, I don't know if you can, leave me a comment below if you can, years ago when you did rub-ons, and it was literally like you would hold your breath and you'd rub a section and you'd slightly pull it back, and then you have to put it back down and rub it again, and then slightly pull it up again, now put it back down, rub it again, and it was quite the process. Nowadays they are much better quality. Now I'm just going to start putting these pieces back down onto the page where I had them roughly. I do think I moved this up probably a little bit more than what I had it before, but that's okay. And with those rub-ons, I kind of did make marks of where I wanted them, but I also didn't really follow those marks overly, you know, precise. And bringing the things back, and now I've got to really pretty much recreate what I had there and do it all over again, which, you know, that tends to be my process, is do things 2 or 3 times. Things that other people could do once, I do 2 or 3 times. But hey, somebody's got to be this way. Why not be me? And here you can see where I am fairly happy, because I am packing up the majority of things. I am leaving a couple little bits and pieces around that I think I might use, but overall I'm taking up the majority of those bibs and bobs and whatever else that I've got laying there, and putting them aside so it's a little bit less disastrous. I don't always do that, guys. Quite often there is just a disaster off to my left that is just layers of papers and bits and pieces. I am definitely not a clean crafter. Here I'm thinking I wanted these flowers to go underneath those photos, and unfortunately what I had done was I had stuck those photos down really well. Because it was on that corrugated card, I was really worried about the edges not sticking and it peeling up. So then I had cut these flowers so they look like they're going underneath, and I spent ages perfecting this. Look at this, all these little bits and pieces in there, get it down. In the end, I noticed right towards the end, I put the word dogs there. You don't even see that little gap between the 2 photos. I could have just sliced that straight off, slid it there, and it would have been none the wiser to anyone whether it went under or over or anything else. But anyway, at the time I felt that it was necessary. The other thing I should have done here was these 3 little tags that I've put down the bottom, I should have blended around the edges with that walnut stain. They don't stand out as much as they should. I think I looked at that after I'd finished the whole layout and tried to lift them a little bit, but they were well and truly stuck down, and they're staying there. So that's just the way it is this time round. Couldn't find the S. I obviously packed that up on my little clean freak moment before, so I had to go diving in to find the S. It's quite funny how many times I mutter, where has that gone? Like, where is that piece that I just had? Where is that pencil I just had? Where is that pair of scissors I just had? Are you guys the same? Do you lose things constantly on your bench? I just find like it's a Bermuda Triangle, this desk. Things kind of just disappear. Here we go, making a little vinaigrette up the top. Is vinaigrette, that's not the word, is it? Somebody tell me the word, because vinaigrette's not the word. It is not a dressing up the top. Anyway, we're making a little bit of a collection up there, and I've got the puppy love up there. I realize that's not what I want up there very soon, and I'll move it down. Some of these flowers that I have put into this these areas, they felt a little gappy and not kind of surrounding that life is better with two dogs. So I'm going to cut them apart a bit and spread them so that you see more, because there's no use having a flower all the way behind something. So adding them in a bit and getting a little bit extra out of those flowers helps. And you can't really tell once all of the bits and pieces are put on that they have been cut apart and they're actually the same flower. So I've got 4 pieces out of 2 there. I'm fairly happy with that. I think I'm looking for the puppy love, which I finally realized was up the top, not on the bottom. And I'm going to attach those pieces into place, just checking that my placement's right there before I go and stick these pieces on. And then with the life is better with 2, I'm going to put that on foam tape, but I'm going to put 2 layers of foam tape at the very top, 1 in the middle and none on the bottom. And then I'm really kind of peeling up that corner just up at the top of the L on the left hand there. And making that look really dog-eared and dog-eared, that works with the page, worn a little bit there to give it a bit of texture. So in the slowdown, if you have a quick look at the end when I do a little bit of a side-on view, you'll see that that stands up a layer higher than the actual photos. It's like it's on a lean coming down towards those photos. Now, these letters, they also are part of the Willow and Grace collection. I've gone to put the dogs' names there. I cut a bit section out because it took way too long, guys. I fussed over that for ages and ages. And I have, at this stage, I have Ruby down in that on the first photo on the left. And I have Loki up on the photo, on the last photo on the right, up in the corner there. But in the end, I don't like it. You can't see the names, and I changed that about so that Loki comes down and gets put where Ruby is down the bottom. It's just one of those things. Thankfully, they weren't sticky, and I hadn't glued them. Quite often, I will put a little bit of extra glue on the back of the alphabet stickers. I must have known I wasn't going to be happy with those up there, and I was easily able to remove them and move them down without damaging the photo. Here's the furry little family, and here I did the right thing. Unlike down the bottom, I actually remembered to blend around these edges and add them up, and I'm going to find just a little scrap in a section. I'll go into my little scrap bag and place another little tiny piece. Oh no, I cut it out of a bit of chipboard. Nope. Do I? Which one do I do? Anyway, we find another little piece. I think that's just a scrap of the Hessian paper that I find, and put that up there as well. I'd love to know, guys, how do you keep all your little scraps? So I have a bag for the creative cards. I also have a bag for bits of the cutout sheets that I have. And then I store all my big pieces in a little plastic folder, paper folder. And then in that I have a page protector, you know, the old ones you used to use at school, just to put all your maths sheets or whatever in, those kind of page protectors that holds all those little bits and pieces that I've cut from papers that are left over, like zip strips and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to know if that's similar to what you guys do, or whether you store all your bits and pieces differently to that. Very close to the end here now, guys. I'm going to pop some crystal bits around. These are in a champagne colour, and they just match beautifully with the colourings of this. They've got that just slight peachy kind of tone to them, creamy peach, but and don't kind of leap out of the page, but really do add just a little bit of sparkle. So I'm going to add them around a little sprinkling here and there. And the very last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with that walnut stain and give it quite a heavy border around the outside edge. Oh, cancel that. One more thing, we're going to move those letters that I talked about before. So I'm going to move them down. I try them just above the ruby. I end up putting them next to it. And then I do go in and I cut a little piece off, like an X or a Y, one of those letters that we don't use very much. And just to put a little marker between the two so the two names don't run in together, because look, Ruby is a very long name for a dog. So that's what I'm popping in there. And then we are going to go and we're going to blend all around the outside edge. While I am blending around and giving this a nice border, I just want to thank you guys. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, thank you so much for sticking around. I do appreciate it. Please think about leaving a comment, letting me know what you think, hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button, all those things. My channel is not a very big channel. I am trying to grow it just a little bit. So all of those things help. But most of all, even if you don't do any of those things, I appreciate the fact that you spent some time with me today. I hope you have a crafty day. I hope you can get your fingers inky and cut some paper this afternoon. And I will see you guys on the next one. Take care and goodbye.